Hello everyone, welcome back to another Smart Money Sundays. Hope you're all having an amazing week. Hope you all had a profitable week in the market. But without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So if you recall from last week's video, I was looking at a bullish dollar. If you look, that did not actually pan out as I was expecting. So I didn't actually, not really much movements for me this week on FX side of things. But if you recall, we had news. So I think it was on Tuesday we had news. Price ended up pushing down, and we're now at a previous daily demand level. Okay, so in terms of what I'm looking at for now, I'm on the high time frames. I'm still very much bullish, but I think we're going to see a deeper retracement on the dollar before we do actually end up coming up and fulfilling the 108 objective, okay? Because price does need to come into this level before, I believe, before we see any bearish price action, okay? At least on the swing time frame. So currently, what I'm anticipating is price to either hold this level, okay? So we're likely going to see some sort of small retracement, right, to come and fill in all this inefficiency, and then potentially a deeper pullback into the 102 levels. Now this is where I'll be looking for swing longs on the dollar, and I'll be also looking for swing shorts on crypto and risk assets in particular, mainly because if this scenario does pan out, we're likely going to see a very impulsive push eventually on the dollar. Okay, so keep this scenario out in mind. But for the new coming week, what I want to be actually looking for on the hour 4. Now we've had quite strong bearish movements, right? We had a range, impulse, we had a range and big impulse. Now we're leaving back all these inefficiencies. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so price is likely at some point in the future come back and fill these levels. We also still have the gap at 106.5. Now that gap can stay there for a while, but it will eventually get filled, as gaps always do. So we do need to keep that in mind. But for now, the trend is very, very strong. So what I'm going to be looking at coming into the new week is, now these lows are swept, I'm going to be looking for price to come out and swipe these highs. Now if price is bearish, what we'll see is price come back and make a new low. Now if that is the case, I'll be absolutely shorting the fuck out of the dollar. Okay, however, if we see, right, after this potential scenario takes place, the low swipe, the high swipe, and then when we see a pullback into this range, and then a new high made, then I'll be looking for that objective of price to come in, at least come and fill in the imbalance at 105, so we can start looking for intraday longs on the dollar, okay, and short on USD majors in particular. Okay, now let's push onto EU. Now, okay, wrong chart. Right, so EURUSD. Right, so when it comes to actually the what I'm looking at for this week is, we still have this high time frame objective here at 1.0945. This high that will likely come and get swiped, right, in the next week, right? It's very, very probable. So now what I'm going to be looking at, again, we do have all these imbalances that will get filled, just I don't think we're going to see it yet. So what I'm looking at on the lower time frames, coming to Monday, okay, I'm looking at price to come and pull back at least into the 50% level of this range, because this was a low that swept these lows, and this is a new higher high. So Monday I'll be looking for a potential pullback, okay, and then into Tuesday I'll be looking for those longs into 1.0940 45. So let me just map it out like this so it's easier to understand. Okay, we want to see that level come into the 50% level. Okay, that's only when I'll be interested in basically looking to longs into this level, because on the high time frame this level is going to get hit. So in terms of intraday, Monday most likely, or Tuesday, I'll be wait for that pullback into this range, and then look for lower time frame confirmations. And validation will be at the lows where all this previous liquidity was swept, and then we can look to high time frame targets into after 109 is actually swept. Okay, so that's sort of the game plan when it comes to EU and what I'm looking at for the new week. Right, so let's move over to BTC. Now, BTC. Now, I've been have a lot more focus on crypto this week. mainly because the volume has increased. So whenever there's more volume, I like to focus on crypto, as when crypto likes to move, as you guys should already know, it very much moves quick. So there's a lot of opportunities for swing trades in particular. But as of for now, what I'm seeing in terms of BTC is prices basically started slowing down a little bit, which is normal as we're coming into a major supply at 38k. However, I'm not convinced where I'm bearish just yet, because on a high time frame, right? If I go on to the weekly, I still think we're gonna revisit the lows of this range. However, I don't think we're gonna see that just yet, because what you have to understand is when prices at high time frame supplies in particular, you price doesn't just tap in and then moves in the other direction. It needs to distribute. It needs time for money managers to actually sell their orders, distribute orders before they can actually send price down. They need to be selling at the most premium levels, and that takes some time. So I do think we're going to be creating a range here for minimum at least the next couple of weeks, potentially even till the end of year. But in terms of right now, what I'm looking at on the lower time frames is I don't think a lot of people I see are starting to become a little bearish here, but intraday wise, yes, I could very likely see a push into 33k level, but that's not really bearish, because if we come into this level, we'll likely see a fast reaction, right? If we come push back above 34k, I think we're very quickly can come into 40k, right? Because what this does is it induces shorts into the market, right? Fucks over all their stop losses, right? And then it starts actually pushing up, right? Collects all those SLs placed above here, and then starts pushing up into higher territory, and then the same cycle basically repeats itself, okay? Buyers get induced, and then price retraces again, okay? Hunts their stop losses. Again, just looking for liquidity to be engineered into the market, and this is usually how it does. So I'm looking for a pullback into 33k. That's my main scenario. I think the most high probable scenario before I'll be looking for actual buys on when it comes to BTC. Okay. Now I have a similar scenario on Ethereum when it comes to alts. Now basically we're at a particular very important intraday demand level. Now on the higher time frame, before I scope into that, on a higher time frame, we have a high here, right, that did not get taken, which means this is liquidity now is being created, which means a lot of stop losses are being placed here. Price just left that high and pushed down, which what in essence does is induces shorters into the market. So now a lot of shorters would have got involved thinking price is just going to reverse down, okay? So what is likely to happen now is price is likely going to push above into this level, mainly to hunt all this liquidity before we do see any high time frame reversal, okay? So hope that makes sense to you guys. Now let's push on to the lower time frame. So what I'm basically looking at for now again, this will be very dependent on the weekly candle closure, but what I want to see is price actually push into this level, which we're very likely going to see. Now, two scenarios can play from here. Either we're going to reject from this level and push down lower, okay? Which if we are, we're likely just going to come to another lower high time frame demand, which is around this level, which is possible as well. But what I'm ideally looking for is price to actually push above this high, okay, and start ranging here. If we see acceptance above 2100, I think that's going to be easy longs into 2400, okay? As of for now, I think we're just pulling back. But these are the one of the two scenarios I'm looking at, and if this scenario does play, we could see alts give us one last rip before we see any high time frame reversal before 2024 actually begins. So that's sort of my game plan when it comes to crypto as a whole. Now let's move over to gold. Now gold is actually the only position that actually was very, very clean this week. Unfortunately, I missed the opportunity this week as I have been traveling, so my hours have been a little messed up, so I haven't really been trading as much this week, which is okay. But if you recall from last Smart Money Sundays, I said this was the level I was looking at a bullish reaction from, and price actually came to this level perfectly and gave us a nice, don't know why this is bugging out. Okay, price actually gave us a nice bullish reaction. I think about 5,000 pips this was, but very, very clean reaction. Right, so price came in and fulfilled this this level right at 1987 as I mapped out. So this line's from last week. Now what I'm looking at in terms of this week is a potential pullback. Okay, I want to see pullback into this level. Okay, this level in particular, because same scenario with EU, right? If this level holds, if this level in particularly holds, we're likely going to see a draw of liquidity into 2000. Okay, because you have to remember, this is liquidity as well, right? This high is also liquidity, and before you see any sort of reversals, high time frame liquidity always gets swept. So I'm looking for price to actually come into this level. Let me map it out like this, so maybe a bit more easier. Okay, I want to see price redraw into 1972. Want this level to hold coming to Monday or Tuesday, ideally, and coming to London or New York session. I will be looking for those longs. Okay, invalidation is below previous low, and then look to target. Well, my main target will be 2000. Extended target will be 2100 if the trend actually continues. Okay. Because on the high time frame we are still very much bullish, but again, it all depends on how this level will hold come into the new week. So I would, if I was you, I'd map this level out as on gold as we approach the new week. So with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did seek value, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.